Okay, for today's project, we're going to do this. We're going to rebuild this Athearn Blue Box Trainmaster. I inspected it a little bit, and if you can see in here, the motor mounts are completely dry rotted and rotten. Fortunately, I have some brand new ones I can put in there. Otherwise, we would need to fabricate a motor mount for this thing, which we won't have to do. Now, this particular one has got the big number boards, and we've got a bunch of these around here, so let's see what we can do with it. First, let's put it on the bench and see how it tests. Get it on the track here. Let's see if there's any life to it. Alright. Well, we got power, full power. Oh, there is something. Aha. Got some linkage. Not in. Let's see, we can fix that quick, and then let's see. It looks like it runs. Now, somebody's done some work on this before, and they did this wire modification where you remove the old spring clip, and that's pretty common. That's the most basic and most common modification that you will see on an Athearn Blue Box, is you just remove the big spring clip. Okay. Wow, that motor mount is really dry rotted, but we know it's got power, and apparently the light bulb works. Let's try that again. Okay, let's see what we got. Okay, we don't have good pickup at all. But if we get some pickup, very shaky. Okay, I don't want to burn it up here. You know, this motor, very unlikely you're going to burn that up. These motors are pretty robust, but it definitely, this thing's got problems, and that's one reason why we probably got it. So now, what I want to do is to show you the starting process. I use a notebook here, and I'm recording in this notebook today's date, what it is, where I got it, and my initial inspection says it needs motor mounts. Now I'm going to write down that it gears don't engage. And I like to keep these notes on wiring diagrams and special stuff, because this is going to be the first blue box where we are going to aux guard the motor. And I'm going to show you how to do that in a little while. Alright, let me get this thing disassembled, and then we will continue on. Disassembly. Okay, now on this one, I'm going to show you something here. Whoever did the work on this before did put a nut on a number 256 screw. I like that. I'm going to use that again. These couplers don't seem to be that bad, so I want to save those. And let's just go ahead and remove the couplers. I like the fact that they use the nut on it. When I check coupler height, and I'm assuming if they had enough skill to do this, they probably set the height correct. Now this screw is, I'm probably not going to use this long of a screw again, but I'll just set those over there. Let's get the other one here. Now usually when I do this, I actually tap the hole with the tap and drill set. So I make a threaded hole, and then I just screw into it. And we'll see if since I already know that this 256 screw goes all the way through this, tapping it's not going to do any, threading that hole isn't going to do any good, because we'd have to use a bigger screw, and I don't want to do that. I want to keep it a 256 screw. Alright, so where did we drop that? Here he is. Okay, let's keep our parts over there. Okay, as you see, the motor's falling apart. Let's just take it out. In fact, let's go ahead. I don't know if I really want to use this wire, but I'm going to go ahead and just unsolder it. I'm not going to use the wire on this build, but I might just throw it into the junk box. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's hot. All right, there we go. All right, let's keep our couplings over here. Drive shafts. See if we can see that. Okay. Couplings, drive shafts. I'm going to take the ones off of the trucks. They just snap off. Now we know that they're all here. There's 4 of them. I'm going to take this cap off of the worm and just come in from the side and just push it off. Now we're going to set the worm. Ooh, there's a lot of oil on this. And you guys all know that I don't like to use oil in my gearboxes. Okay, here's truck 1. Now, this thing has a front and a back. When it's facing forward like this right now, this light pointing forward, this bracket is on the outside of both. Okay, so if let's mark that, and then we'll remember it. Now, I remember it just because I remember it, but if you don't do this all the time, you might not remember that. I'm going to mark this one front. I'm going to mark this one rear. There we go. Okay. Do the same over here. Watch out, don't let your parts fly away. Got my worm gears. Got my truck out. Let's get rid of this wire on top. Okay. And actually, I'm just going to toss these wires. I'm not saving them. I'm not reusing them. We got enough of that kind of junk around here. Okay. I'm removing this bracket because I'm not going to use it. And you just grip it with your pliers and just pull it off. I'm not reusing this light bulb. On this one, with these nice big headlights, like that midnight special, I think we want to put LED in there. Probably. What would look cool is if it was yellow. We'll see if we can find that. Okay, here are the motor mounts. Now, these motor mounts are going in the garbage because they're no good. So we just go underneath and we just pop them out. And they are total dry rotted. I'm going to tell you now a secret. Yeah, it's ripped. Okay. I'm going to tell you now a secret. Putting the motor mount in, let's keep this one out for a second. When you put these motor mounts in, just a little bit of chapstick around them, and they slide in nice. And so we'll do that later. We got to clean this. All right, we are now down to the bare frame, and there it is. There's a point of contact right here, and another one right there. In this rebuild, when we get to it, we're going to decide, but we can bypass that and go directly to the trucks. And we might just do that. Okay, so these trucks, here's the secret to these. Number 1, on the back side there's a clip here. You need to remove that. Do not pry from the end or you will split it and break it. You go, just take a small screwdriver, maybe like this size, and we just lift her up. Okay, that's one. put it over here in our pile. Now, this bottom one, a lot of people go in from the end and they end up breaking it. Don't do that. Take your small screwdriver, come down through the top, just press a little bit, and it comes off just like that, and I didn't chip it or break it. Pretty slick, huh? Now it comes apart, and that's how the gears look in it. Now this one has thrust washers. Someone put thrust washers in it. Interesting. You don't usually see thrust washers. There's a lot of oil in here. Very oily. Well, I've only seen thrust washers maybe a couple of times. Someone definitely went in here and oiled the crap out of this thing. Let's take our gears out, see if there's thrust washers on both sides. Yep, there sure is. I'm going to save those. They're kind of oily, but I think we're going to use them again. Thrust washers are a nice touch. They're not really they're not necessary in here, but I like it. So let's use it again. Save them. Let's get our gears out. Oh, thrust washers on both sides. And you can tell by that red wire in there that someone had done some modifications to this. Now, back in the 80s, modifying blue boxes was a huge thing. Practically every magazine, every publication, there are entire books written about this. People used to do all kinds of modifications to these. And we're going to do some old school mods to this. Let's keep our wheels over here. Repeat the process on the second truck. Okay, so I'm going to go on the side, snap just a little bit. You don't need to use a bunch of force on it. Snap a little bit. Then I'm going to go down through the top. See that? Just slightly press, press, press. It will come out. There it is. Snapped off. No broken parts. That's exactly the way we want it to be. Pull it apart, see if we find thrust washers again. Yep, sure enough. There are definitely thrust washers in here. We will talk about thrust washers later. They are on all the worm gears. Very oily. Very oily. We are not going to use oil. We're going to use the same old lithium grease that we always use. And if you watch my other videos, the ones where I've taken apart something that I rebuilt, say back in the 90s, where I put that same grease in there, everything is good. So I know from experience that grease is good for 25 years and longer. So that's why I'm going to keep using it. And no degradation or attacking the plastic, nothing like that. That lithium, that I'll show you right now what it is. This stuff, it's $2 when I got it, and that's how much I've used in roughly 28 years, something like that, 29 years. That's how much I've used that. Stuff will last a long time, and I'm very pleased with the fact that it lasts pretty much forever. Okay, we got to wash all this stuff. All them parts got to be washed. We're going to isolate this motor for DCC. We're going to take this clip here. We are going to peen these down and make this thing flat. And then we are going to put a little piece of black tape right here to insulate it so that the motor does not touch the frame. Alright, so now everything is disassembled. It's time to get washing. I'm going to use Dawn dish soap, warm water, and then I've got a spot by a big fan that blows lightly on it, gets it all dried up, and everything's clean, squeaky clean, and ready to be taken care of. At the same time, I'm going to show what we're going to do about these trucks. Remember that modification we made to our little locomotives to make them negotiate rough track? We're going to do that on here. Alright, so that is the end of Trainmaster Disassembly.